There's a lot of talk about decentering men, but I do think people could also benefit from decentering their moms, dads, family, whoever they hold at a high pedestal and whose validation they seem to need the most. I think it's very common. For example, let's say, and I know it's harder to do and it's easier to say, especially let's say you were somebody who's considered a late bloomer and you never really got attention and you were overlooked. And then at some point, maybe in your family as well, you were never really complimented. And then as you got older, perhaps you had, other girls saying, "Oh, you're really pretty," or other guys suddenly noticing you as a woman, right? It kind of is because you were so deprived of that, you latch onto it. It's like you're starved for that. Someone starving for water, they might see a swamp nearby and they don't really care. They're thirsty, so they'll drink it and they're like, this is the best thing I've ever had. It doesn't matter the intentions behind the people complimenting you. For you, all that matters is, I never got this. This is really juicy. It's yummy, right? That's why I don't judge people who are very maybe male centered, even guys who are very like after women, so focused on getting women's attention. It comes from a place that has been deprived in their childhoods. And I think a lot of people, there are a lot of people, it's common, who have been deprived of that. For instance, let's say you grew up around a mother who maybe she was a little bit cold, not super emotionally there, emotionally neglectful. And perhaps because she grew up like that herself, she had to take on responsibility at a young age and never really got to build that with her own mother. So now she's like that with you. So you never really got compliments. Of course, it's easy to internalize that as, I must not be attractive, I must be ugly. But also remember, that same woman who you call your mother is a person with her own insecurities. And I think a lot of the times, that person, your mom, is looking at you through her own lenses, through her own insecurities and traumas. So she can't really see you for you. She's looking at you as the mini version of her that is imperfect. And it's unfortunate, right? Because you're getting this, all of her stuff projected onto you that you never were the cause of. But it's also because she never broke out of that. Even I think if you haven't seen your mom compliment herself a lot, she doesn't really, if you compliment her, she doesn't really say, like, oh, I think I look pretty today or I look beautiful. She's very, what people call humble. They take a compliment. You tell her, oh, you look nice. Oh, this whole thing, I look okay. You also internalize that and you think, oh, okay. It must not be okay to say that you look pretty. I do think it's really important to decenter everything, people's opinions, whether for you that's male validation, women validation, parental validation, decenter any opinion outside of yourself that you are constantly after, that you find yourself thinking about. If being around the person and waiting for them complimenting you will make your entire day, and if they don't comment on your dress, you end up being in a bad mood, that is not a good thing at all. You've put too much power into their words rather than being just okay knowing, I showed up, I'm beautiful, I don't need to hear it from my mom, my dad, anybody. I know I look good and I'm happy. Then you're good. And same for men. We talk about decentering men. I find men also have this issue. I mean, if you look at guys, let's say a guy breaks up with his girl, all his friends, oh, go screw a bunch of other women or go do this, go do that. There's putting women at the center rather than healing themselves and being with themselves. Because for them, it's a badge of honor. Oh, I can show, like, look how many women I've been with. You're centering them and you're taking away from all the time you could have spent focusing on yourself and building what's called real confidence. Real confidence does not come from everybody liking you and everybody thinking you're great. That's not possible. Real confidence is knowing who you are at your core, accepting your flaws, knowing you're imperfect, but still thinking to yourself, I know I'm a catch. I know I'm a decent person. I have this skill, this quality, and being just okay with that. Being okay with people disliking you. being okay with people loving you, being okay with basically all the things, knowing that it's not going to change and affect who you are at your core. I think that's what decentering is. But it's normal to obviously want reciprocated feelings. If you like somebody, you want them to like you back, to appreciate you back. That's perfectly normal. But don't make that your whole life to where you degrade yourself in order to get that validation. Be okay with walking away, even if it hurts. Because the right people who love you and who are meant to have your back, they will find their way to you. That's simply it. Decenter everything aside from your own opinion. And I think you'll live a pretty stress-free life. Mostly stress-free life, aside from the normal stresses, of course. And I think I could say that with anything, even a job. Don't center your job. Don't center things. Center your well-being. Focus on your peace, and the rest should be smooth sailing. I think I'm just gonna title this video "Decenter Everything." That's it.